All right, let's go through the wings. At number 1, Chris Middleton. Number 2, Austin Reeves, White Iverson. Number 3, Bruce Brown. Good list. Cameron Johnson, restricted free agent from the Brooklyn Nets. Josh Hart, Knicks Nation stand up. Dante DiVincenzo. Karis LeVert at 7. Max Strus at 8. Torrey Craig at 9. And Malik Beasley at 10. These are top 10 wings coming up in free agency. And Chris Middleton's name rings off the charts, man. It's Chris Middleton who, over the weekend or late last week, it was announced that Middleton would be opting out of his $40 million player option with the Milwaukee Bucks to become an unrestricted free agent. Where will Middleton go? Is it back with Bucks? Is it Rockets? I mean, how many teams? There's only but so many teams with cap space, right? Is it Orlando? I don't see that there with Franz Wagner. He's 31 years old. Injury concerns. He only played, how many games did he play this year? He played 33 games this year. Came back from the knee injury. He's getting a little bit injury prone. He's 31 years old. How many teams are really going to shell out money for Chris Middleton? To me, this is the Bucks need this guy because their championship window is open. I felt like, to me, this team were my favorites to win it last year.
Yep.
And a Giannis back injury tanked that. They were my favorites to win it the year before that.
Yep.
And they couldn't beat Boston. So their window is still open. I think Middleton is crucial for the Bucks to have because that's it. That is their window. And without him, they don't have much wiggle room to build a team. But this is the gamble. This is the downside to gambling to win a championship, which they got. It paid off, right? They traded all those draft picks for Drew Holiday. It got them a championship. But now it's a challenge to how do you stay on top? How do you maintain your team to maintain your championship window? The Lakers saw that when they did that for Anthony Davis. They got it. But since then, it's been a struggle to get back to the pinnacle. It's a gamble. It's the risk that you take. It's a worthwhile risk because it turned into a championship. But now becomes a challenge of how do you stay on top. And for me, the Bucks, Chris Middleton has to be there along with Brooke Lopez. But it starts with Middleton, man.
Absolutely. I mean, if you lose Middleton, I don't see how you're a championship team if you're the Milwaukee Bucks. Like Drew Holiday, love Giannis Antetokounmpo. You're not a championship team without Chris Middleton. I know he was inconsistent even the year that they won their ring, but still, not having Middleton against the against the Boston Celtics was critical. I think that's what gave the Boston Celtics an edge.
Yeah,
because they didn't really have a consistent guy who can get to his spots on the floor and take those necessary jumpers. You then go to this year, not having your MVP in Giannis Antetokounmpo, missing some time against the Miami Heat, just gave the Miami Heat that much more confidence, especially a guy like Jimmy Butler, to make that upset. So if you lose Middleton, if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, you're a playoff team. You're not a championship contending team, in my opinion.
That's got to be the Bucks going back. Austin Reeves, same thing. I don't think the Lakers can afford to let him go because clearly they are still committed to the LeBron and AD ticket to keep their championship, quote-unquote championship hopes alive. And Austin Reeves has to be a significant part of it, man. Had a great season this year. I thought he was great for them in the playoffs. Showed a lot of shot creation bag. Showed a lot of toughness. You know, he really surprised me in that run. And so, you never know. Again, could the Rockets, a team with some cap space, come in there, swoop in, and try to get an Austin Reeves? It's left to be seen, man. But I think it's for the Lakers, man. Lakers have to bring this kid back. Shot 40% from 3 on 3 attempts, 13 points per game, 3 boards, 3 assists. A 61% effective field goal percent, bro. 61%, Austin Reeves.
Yo, he was efficient, good scorer, strong guard, man, even for his frame.
Yeah.
Knows how to draw contact, get to the free throw line. Yeah, I don't see how the Lakers can let this guy walk. If this guy does walk, and if I'm the Knicks, I am making sure I get Austin Reeves, in all honesty. But I think the Lakers just keep him, man. He was, I think when you traded for D'Lo, you're like, oh, this guy could be the third option if you're the Lakers. But then what really happened is that Austin Reeves became the third option. Even Rui Hachimura, I know we're doing bigs later on. He became like a fourth option for that team. And D'Lo continued to drop down the list on importance, but got to keep Austin Reeves if you're the Lakers just to stay competitive. We're talking about, even though they got swept, Lakers, that series was very close. There was no game that was out of reach for the Lakers. So if you're the Lakers, you got to feel pretty confident with the team that you were able to put together after the trade deadline during the regular season, and you got to make sure to run it back with majority of this roster. And Austin Reeves should be part of that.
Yeah. 94th percentile in the league in effective field goal percentage, bro. 94th percentile. Shot 80% at the rim last season. 97th percentile at the rim. 51% from the mid-range. 41% from three. Talk about accuracy, man.
And he did that with
accuracy.
CP, and he did that with amongst wings, right? He did that averaging 28.7 minutes per game. He did that with a 16.6% usage rate, which ranks amongst all wings, according to Clean the Glass, in the 47th percentile. The guy is hyper efficient.
Yeah. Lakers, don't drop the ball. Lakers do not drop the ball on that. And speaking of Lakers, we're going to be talking more Lakers on Wednesday with our special guest, Alex Hollingsworth, who covers the Lakers for Lakers Central podcast, man, friend of the program. Can't wait to talk Lakers with him. Who else? Bruce Brown, another interesting guy. Bruce Brown, we know his free agency story last year. He said nobody wanted him. Signed a 1+1 with the Nuggets, $6 million per. Got the chip. Now he's after the bag. And so you have reports out there saying that they expect to lose him. We'll see what happens there. He can return to Denver. This is according to our guy, Bobby Marks. Let me pull this up real quick. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. NBA Report live and direct. Here's Bobby Marks. He says, here are the options for Bruce Brown. He says he can return to Denver on a contract that starts at $7.8 million. That's the most they can give him. He said this would be similar to what Bobby Portis did in Milwaukee. That is the max he can get because he has non-bird rights and Denver is a tax team. This would allow him to establish early bird rights in 2024 and sign for a contract north of $12 million. But the thing is, he can go out there and get $12 million anywhere. All right, as Mark says, he can sign with a team that has cap space or with the $12 million non-taxpayer mid-level exception. So that's going to be interesting, man, because, look, maybe the Knicks.
Yeah.
Maybe the Knicks. Knicks got the mid-level. I think I would go with Bruce Brown before I went with Dante DiVincenzo.
That makes sense, especially with a wing coming off the bench. But my question for you, if you're the Knicks and you're thinking about Bruce Brown, is he redundant to someone like Josh Hart?
Absolutely. But at this stage in the game, like there's no, unless they go out there and get a Torrey Craig, like is there a real wing out there that they can get? Either via free agency or trade.
I mean, if you're looking for more shooting, right? And it's one thing to look at the percentages and be like, well, Josh Hart shot a crazy percentage once he came to the Knicks.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at someone like Bruce Brown, and I'm just getting the statistics right here just to make sure I got his numbers correct. Not a consistent 3-point shooter.
No.
Even though he shot 35% on low volume 3.2 attempts per game. Is that somebody that you want? Like, I like Bruce Brown, but I'm thinking about having Josh Hart as well. Do we need to add more inconsistent shooting, even though it looks good on paper? Because he's a high energy guy, solid rebounder, good playmaker, high energy, high energy. Do you need more of that on this team, which will make you competitive? As someone like the Knicks, you'll be very competitive in the playoffs. But as we saw, we need consistent 3-point shooting.
Consistent 3-point shooting,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if that's the guy I want to necessarily go after when we have somebody like that in Josh Hart. I think it's too redundant of a skill base, which would be great. If this was like we're talking 90s basketball. You want to tell me we're gonna get more hustlers out there, can shoot, even though they're inconsistent on the bench, they can give you some solid minutes, 100%. But as we see as the game evolves year after year, season after season, I think if you're the Knicks, you go after someone with more shooting, which is why I think I like the idea, but I'm also hesitant. Someone like the Nuggets, I think you just gotta be like, you just don't even care about the salary cap at this point. If you want to continuously run it back, I think you just say, look, man, we had seats we had a lot of people fill the seats this season. We just won the championship. The cap implications don't really start affecting teams until 2 years down the road. Let's just run it back.
Yeah, they're going to have to hope and say, hey, look, could he give us a Bly, take the 7.8 mil, and we'll take care of you next year. But for Bruce Brown, it's like, yo, I might not have the same year I had last year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're looking at Bruce Brown, you're like, look, if I can get this 12 right now from somebody on the open market, maybe it's in Orlando, maybe it's a Houston, maybe it's a Detroit. You got to take it and run. You got your chip already. You got to get the bag.
Yeah.
You got to get the bag. So
I hear you.
That's an interesting choice for Bruce Brown because I don't think the Nuggets are a slam dunk. Cam Johnson, I see that as Nets. He's a restricted free agent. I think the Nets keep him. Number one. What's up?
The Nets, there was a report out there saying that the Nets would meet a 4-year, $100 million contract extension.
Yeah.
In restricted free agency just to keep him. So I think even though I like Cam Johnson, I like his upside. It's a steep amount of money, but once again, for consistent 3-point shooting, you got to pay a premium.
Yeah, you need that. You need that. I love his game as a two-way player. He's tough. He can light it up. He's a sniper. You keep him. You give him the bag. As he said, I think the report was like they wouldn't go overboard. They wouldn't overpay, but anything reasonable they will match, and they should. And you keep him in the system. You have him in Bridges, continue as your core. And if you are interested in a Dame deal and Dame does ultimately become available, that's some salary that you can send to Portland and bring to help get Dame back to Brooklyn.
Here it is. According to NBA insider Brian Windhorst, Brooklyn is prepared to match an offer sheet for the 27-year-old small forward up to 4 years, $100 million.
There you go.
So there
you go.
I don't think anyone's going to be offering over $100 million for Cam Johnson over 4 years, but that should give you an indication on where things stand.
Absolutely, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Somebody who's at Jay from Brooklyn. Okay, here we go. Some more breaking news here. Shout out to our guy Jay from East New York for the tidbit. Because it says here, Blood of the Panther, sorry. Shout out to Blood of the Panther. Chris Haynes, according to Chris Haynes, Portland Trailblazers star Damian Lillard and his agent Aaron Goodwin are meeting with the team today to discuss the franchise's direction. Buckle up.
Oh, man.
Buckle up.
Which one's more nauseating? I know we're Knicks fans, but which one is more nauseating? I guess it's just because the Knicks fandom in me doesn't want to hear any more about the Miami Heat. But is it Donovan Mitchell to the Knicks that took over last summer, or is it Dame to Miami?
It's definitely
which one's more nauseating?
It's definitely Dame to Miami. It's Dame talk, period. Because the Dame talk has been going on for like 3 years now, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least the Spider thing was like, once Utah flopped out and they decided to make the trade for Gobert, then it started like ratcheting up a little bit. Spider. And then it became Spider to Nick. But for Dame, it's been going on 3 years, man.
I feel you. But shout out to our guy, Mark Berman, formerly of the New York Post. He would always drop the article of like Donovan Mitchell, he's from Westchester area, New York, maybe to the Knicks one day. So it's like every time the Jazz came to town, that art you could just book that article was dropping. So I don't know, man. I don't know, but I hear you with
I'm over
I
it,
think for
man.
the Dame stuff, it's just I think because the tone, it's not even like the connection, it's more of the loyalty to Portland and just like this whole thing. I could see though that being the winner because it's like at this point, man, what are you loyal to?
Yeah, it's
What are you
true.
being loyal to?
It's true, man. Great points. And on this list, next up on this list, a couple of the guys, DiVincenzo we talked about, doesn't look like he's going back to Golden State. Could the Knicks be an option there? We'll have to wait and see. LeVert, also an interesting option. I would have to think Cleveland tries to bring him back because if not, they lose a big depth piece there in terms of them trying to compete and maintain their level in the East. Strus, we talked about Strus and Vincent. I would have to think, well, maybe, does Strus get the bag and go somewhere else? Does he go to Detroit? Does he go somewhere else?
Yep.
Torrey Craig, I think Craig said the Suns have to keep him by any means necessary. I would have to think that they could take care of him by the free agent deadline. And then, Beasley, we'll see what happens with Beasley. Didn't really finish the season well. Flamed out of the Lakers rotation. Had an okay season with the Jazz. He could be a vet minimum guy. Or maybe a little more. We'll see how much teams value him. But, yeah, top 10 wings, man.
Yeah, and I got some honorable mentions here as
Let's
well
go.
for the wings.
Let's go.
Got Joe Ingles,
Okay.
Taylor Horton Tucker, THT,
Yep.
Yuto Watanabe,
Yep.
Watanabe, Josh Richardson,
Okay.
and your guy, the only one, Alec Burks. And for those of you who are new to this program, and if you have not checked out Knicks Fan TV, because we've been getting a lot of love for the new show, CP. I've seen it in the comments, people just finding out about the channel.
Yep.
Don't necessarily know us and the coverage about Knicks Fan TV. CP loves Alec Burks. This is his guy.
That's my guy,
especially when he was on the Knicks. This is CP's guy.
Yeah.
And for Ron from Baltimore, this is MJ Burks.
Yeah.
So there's your honorable mentions.
I'm telling you, 41% from three on damn near 5 attempts. Burks he's just one of those guys he's just underrated. But I guarantee you, the next NBA player that we bring onto this show, that will be one of the questions. What's it like to go up against Alec Burks? And we'll let somebody from the league
to go up against Alec Burks.
We'll let somebody from the league tell you just how good Alec Burks is, because people just don't see it. He's a hooper.
Yes, when we finally bring on Cade Cunningham after my man needs to go to a barber. All right, I've been seeing some pictures roam around there. Cade, go hit up the barber real quick, bro. We're gonna ask Cade, what's it like with practicing with Alec Burks in the gym? We can even, when we get Emmanuel Quickly, Obi Toppin, someone or any one of those guys, what was it like witnessing the greatness of Alec Burks? That's gonna be CP's first question. The greatness of Alec Burks.
It's gonna take the talent to know the talent. Next NBA player that we have on NBA Report, they're gonna tell you, man. They're gonna tell you. But THT is definitely an interesting name. Had a good year with the Jazz. Finished strong with them. We'll see where he ends up. Who else did you have on that list? I like THT. Who else did you have?
Joe Ingles.
Utah
Watanabe.
Ingles can still shoot. He's washed, but he can still shoot. Is a Boston a contender? They traded Gallinari. I think Ingles to Boston, give them some depth. Obviously, he could fit into their scheme. Does he go back to Milwaukee? I think or does he go back? Does he go to Phoenix on a vet minimum deal?
Yeah.
I think those are some of the teams, some of the contenders could use him as a vet minimum. Golden State, is that a possibility? We'll have to see there. I think Ingles could certainly help as just some shooting, a little bit of playmaking, definitely not defense, but a veteran presence nevertheless.
I think that's the last part for Ingles, right? I think it's more so at this point the veteran presence. Like his shooting is there. He shot over 40% this season with the Bucks, but I think he's 35, 36 at this point. Came into the league at the age of 27. So you got to think that he's on the downturn. I mean, we saw that with the Bucks too. At this point, if you're a team, are you looking to get more youth? But for someone like Ingles, maybe he gets spot minutes off the bench if someone's hurt, someone's sick. That's what you got to think right now. Even if he goes to a team like Boston, as you're talking about,
Yeah.
that's a team where you're saying, okay, he's probably not going to get a lot of minutes, but in the times that you need someone to continue to space the floor, it's a guy who's pretty reliable. Someone that I like though is I like Yuta Watanabe. Like
Me too.
I'm just curious, can he continue that type of production that we saw on the Nets? Because it's either you're buying a lot of stock, you gotta either be buying a lot of stock or you're just cautiously, super cautiously like like optimistic,
Yeah.
right? You're because it's either thinking that, yeah, he's taking 2.3 attempts per game, shooting 44%. He can continuously do this, or you're like, we believe that he's got some talent there, right? Because you look at the field goal percentage, he's still shot under 50%, only averaged 5.6 points, played, was it 58 games?
Mm-hmm.
We won't we will go over the top to get him. If we don't get him, we're okay. But we'll try to be somewhat aggressive trying to get his talents to the team. I don't know, man. Like I see 44% shooting on 2.3 attempts, and it's like, okay. And for the most part, he shot over 35% 3 out of the 5 seasons in the league.
Yeah.
But 44%, I think that's kind of a little bit of fool's gold to be.
Yeah, it's interesting, nevertheless, and I think it'll help him get a bag. So we'll see if he can continue somewhere close. Obviously, you got to expect a little regression there, but even still, man, certainly a scrapper that any team can use. So we'll see. I think Knicks. I think Phoenix. Does he go back? Does he reconnect with Kevin Durant in Phoenix? See what happens there, man.